All right, we're live there.
Shoulders ready.
Let's see if this one is better than the last one. If you're watching this again, wonder what we're talking about. The last video, we're trying to do this landscape style, and it was showing a landscape. It was showing a portrait, so like a reel. So now let's see.
All right.
Well, this is fun.
Wow.
That's different, isn't it? Yeah. Well, here, let's back it up. Here, we're going to go with the fly. So, if you're watching this or listening to this in the podcast, cool. Sorry about the hold up here. We're just going to move you back a little bit. Let me know once it finally looks like we're in a good view there, Kate.
All right.
Does that look like enough, or we need to go back more?
It's catching up to you.
All right.
Let's see.
That's really weird.
That looks better. We can see the back of your computer, but we'll both be in the screen.
We'll both be in the screen. Perfect.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to make this work. I apologize, friends, for the craziness. I don't know why it's showing up like this, but, that is A-okay. We'll just have to sit close, be friendly.
Oh, my.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this out and
there we
come join us. I apologize for the weird camera stuff. I don't know what's going on, but it's okay. We're here. We're here to hopefully help you live your life to the max. So that's what I was saying when we noticed initially that this was a little funky, is that this show is, we're here to give you a little insight to Jonesin 4 and all that, but mainly to help you live your life to the max. Give you some tips, some strategies, different things. Each week has a different theme, and then we talk about that theme, and we answer questions and have different segments, all that good stuff. So if you haven't yet, hop in the comments. Let me know you are watching. Say hello, say good day. Hopefully we can see comments. And hopefully, this is the right video. Yeah, good. Whew, I was getting
right.
worried.
I know.
All right. Well, hop in the comments. Let us know you're watching. If you're watching live, you can do hashtag live. If you're watching replay, hashtag replay. Let us know that you are here. But as we start with every episode, we're going to start with 3 deep and gentle breaths. So no matter where you are, no matter when you're listening to this, join us with these 3 deep breaths. So exhale what you have. And then breathe in. And out. Breathe in. And out. One more time. Breathe in. And out. I love starting this show, just a nice centering way of calming my brain, and hopefully you just calming all the stuff going on. Life can be crazy, it can be super busy. And so hopefully that this what am I trying to say here? Starting off with those 3 breaths is a way for you to calm and just be present in the moment. And I'm curious, what's something you are grateful for? As you're thinking about and you're writing them down, because we know there's always a little bit of a delay, let us know in the comments. I see we have Bernil here. Hey again, Joneses. Yay, welcome, Bernil. So good having you. We have Jennifer. Yay. Hey, Spencer and Katie. Wow. Hey, Jennifer, thank you for being here. We have Morris. Hello, Morris, live from New York. Love it. My gosh, I love seeing our Energizer family here. So thank you for me showing up. I really appreciate it. And so, I was asking, what are you grateful for? So drop yours in the comments. If you're listening to this in the podcast, think about what you're grateful for. Katie, what's something you are grateful for?
Ooh, today I was grateful for my 4-wheel drive. It was a little bit slippery out. Not bad or anything. We're in Wisconsin. But it was a little slippery, and I was able to safely get my mom to the grocery store and back home in one piece. So I'm grateful for 4-wheel drive.
4-wheel drive is a great thing. We had a nice, beautiful snow here in Wisconsin today. And that's what I'm grateful for, is just, it was the perfect, fairy tale kind of snow where it was gently falling, big flakes for most of the day, probably from like 10 a.m. through like 5 o'clock. It was just gorgeous out. Coated the trees beautiful, and I just love looking at it, embracing it. I see we have Morris saying he's grateful for health Hello, I love that. Love that. Thank you. And Allegra's here. Wonderful. Welcome, Allegra. Thank you for hopping in, joining us. So yeah, drop in the comments. What are you grateful for? It could be big, it could be small, it could be anything. And think about that throughout this episode so you can embrace it, because we're talking about rewiring negative bias. That's one thing we're talking about in today's episode. And we're going to actually go deep into this in our masterclass that we are having on Thursday, the 26th. So we're doing a masterclass all about setting boundaries and rewiring negative bias, talking about it, going in depth. So we're going to give you some tools and tips and strategies, but if you want to go deep, make sure you join that masterclass. It's free to join. If you are interested, drop the word masterclass in the comments, and I will share that link with you so you can hop and join us. And if you can't make it live because you have family stuff or whatever's going on, that's cool. We do have a recording available to everyone who registers. If you don't register, you don't get the recording, all right? So you got to make sure you register for that. So let's dive in. Katie, when I first say the word negative bias, what's the first thing that pops in your mind?
A downward spiral.
I like that, right? Downward spiral, just constantly going down. That's really what a negative bias is in many ways. And for me, when I think of negative bias, I think of people who are always thinking negative, that everything's doom and gloom and just nastiness. That's where my mind goes. And it ties into that negative spiral, right? Or that downward spiral of just that doom and gloom. See, Jennifer put in the comments, grateful for internet friends, right?
Yay!
Amazing. Getting together is incredible in person, but sometimes we can't. But having internet friends, as it were, right? Our Energizer Family Connect, it's amazing. And what was so cool is when we were at the Energizer Summit, to see so many internet friends get together and like, oh my gosh, we're meeting for the first time, yet it's felt like you've known each other for years, because you have. So it's really cool. So let's talk negative bias, right? So Katie shared it, thought it was downward spiral. For me, when I hear it, I think of it, that's what Katie thinks when she first hears it. For me, I think of it as a person who's very negative focused, doom and gloom type person. Well, negative bias is our brain's tendency to give more weight to negative experiences, thoughts, and emotions than positive ones. It's actually a survival mechanism that has helped keep us alive, right? Because all of a sudden, oh my gosh, there's danger there, right? There's a saber-toothed tiger. We got to avoid, we got to stay away, or stay away from that edge, right? We don't want to fall. So it keeps us alive, and it still does to a degree. But for the most part, in today's day and age, we don't need it, right? We don't need it to that degree, at least. We still need to be aware of the negative things and the things that could kill us.
The dangers, yeah.
Right, the dangers out there, but we don't need to let it stop us so much. And as I said, it's evolved to help our ancestors quickly identify and respond to different threats. But as I said, in modern life, that's not needed. But here's what it looks like nowadays. And I imagine you'll see some of these examples and you'll probably see others. And I'm curious, as you think of examples, drop those in the comments too. Let us know what are some examples you've noticed about negative bias. But one of them is, an example would be how one critical comment, whether it's on social media or in person, or you heard it through the grapevine, can overshadow 10, 20, 100 compliments. All right? I hear a lot of times, especially for people who are starting businesses, I get the one negative review or one comment, and they're derailed. Right? That's negative bias. We give more weight to the negative than the positives.
I feel like I fell into that when I was teaching, and the principal would come in and observe me, and there'd be all these glowing compliments and like amazing things, and then there'd be like one like suggestion. I'd be like, I failed. It's like the end of the world, but yeah, I totally feel that.
Right, and I've felt that way too. Whether it's teaching, feedback from a parent, a coworker, and now with you all giving feedback. I do my best to take it constructive, but it's still tricky at times. It's negative bias at work. Also, just dwelling on mistakes. I don't know about you, but I struggle where I dwell on a mistake and I would beat myself up for hours, days, weeks, sometimes longer. Katie can attest to that, right? Like, I really struggle with that, and that's negative bias. I much rather look at mistakes and celebrate successes. And thankfully, over the last couple of years, I've gotten better with it, but I still struggle with it. Also, another example of negative bias is fearing rejection more than embracing opportunities. Well, I'm not going to take that leap of faith because I'm afraid to. I'm afraid I'm going to be rejected, that I'm going to fail, I'm going to do those things, right? Not taking that jump, that leap, because of negative bias. If you want to talk just quickly, really scientifically, it's in your brain, the amygdala. That is that mechanism, that body part, that part of the brain. I don't know what you call it.
Yeah, part of the brain.
Part of the brain, right? The amygdala. I'm like, I can't think of the right technical term. We'll keep it simple.
Part of the
Thank
brain.
you. Thank you. Yeah, the amygdala, which is part of your brain, right? That it processes your negative information, and it does it quickly and intensely. Now, I've worked on myself, and we've helped hundreds, if not thousands, of other people develop a positive, abundant mindset. But we have to be aware that that negative one is really strong, and it happens quickly. So it builds those negative neural pathways very quickly. But we can still build positive ones. And there's ways and hacks to do it quickly. And we'll talk about some of those strategies coming up. So just know it's going to take a little bit of time. It's going to take more time than the negatives, especially since we're so ingrained in that negative neural pathway of looking for that bad things in the world than the positives. It's going to take a while to rewire your brain, but it is possible. But we need to be active and work at it. So the hope with this episode is now we can understand negative bias a little bit more, and we'll share some tools and strategies so that you can churn it around for you in your life and see where it's happening. Head in the comments. I see we have Judy here. Hey, Judy. Welcome. Yay. So good having you. Kyle. Hey, I know this guy. Hey, Kyle. Kyle is awesome. I just met him this last week. Runs a great marketing agency. He's helping us do some videos and ads. So I was just hanging out with him earlier today, shooting some ads. So I'm super excited to share all and the videos that he created. He created this really cool one. I can't wait to share with you. Hopefully I'll be able to share it tonight with you all from the book signing that I did this last weekend. It's going to be really cool. Beth says, I do that all the time. Right? It's so easy to fall into that negative bias. We all do. Even me, the Prince of Positivity. I fall into it. So Beth, you're in good company, and we're in good company, and it happens to so many of us. So, and also, thank you for being here, Beth. I appreciate you. Thank you. Kyle says, this guy's a great book. I met him at a bookstore. Very nice guy. Well, thank you, Kyle. I appreciate that. Thank you for being here and for all the support and love that you've already offered and shared and continue to. So thank you. So Katie, let's hop back to negative bias. Where share an example when you've experienced negative bias.
Negative bias. I know I always go back to my teaching, but I feel like I can find lots of good examples of the things we talk about in that space. There was a year that I had a class that was absolutely a complete and total disaster. It was like a dumpster fire, like stranded on an ocean liner in the middle of burning oil. I don't know. It was insane. And it was a struggle just to go to school. And I remember I got really into that negative focus of like, it's only February 2nd. Like, I'm never going to make it to the end of the year. And it was like this really, I feel like I probably exacerbated like how bad it was because I was so focused on how much more there was to go. Oh, we still haven't even done this yet. Ugh. And I was so bogged down in that. And I really had to do a mindset shift of looking at it in the opposite way of saying, look at how much time has passed. Look, you already completed both sets of conferences this year. Phew, you only had to deal with those nut job parents twice at the conferences and it's over. You know, things like that just to get through. So I feel like it was a hard shift because being in the thick of working through that nonsense all day, it's hard. Like there were days when I struggled with it. It wasn't like I went, I'm going to be positive now and it was perfect. But, you know, it was really shifting and looking at it in a different way of trying to find a positive way of looking at it. Like, look at all the things we've accomplished. And I also started trying to write down like the things that happened, because obviously there were kids in the class who did behave and do great things. And kids who misbehaved also did great things sometimes too. And so I would kind of like record, just like write down like, oh, this child did this today and it was so funny. Or, you know, this kid progressed like this in math and it was amazing. So, yeah.
Well, and you mentioned at first how it's so easy to go back, or not easy, you often go back to your teaching background because you did that for 12 years. And so there's lots of examples to draw on. And so I appreciate you sharing those examples because I come at it from a very entrepreneurial mindset, but you're teaching. So it helps everybody hear that and then they can relate it to their life. So thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. And there's many times in my life where I've had a negative bias that I've seen them. I'll share a recent example though, as in like the last couple months, and maybe like almost last year, really. And I really turned it around about a month ago. And so that was me looking at like where we are in the business and going, we're not there yet. I'm not where I want to be yet, right? And we have big goals, big aspirations, there's visions, all that stuff, and it's pulling me forward, which is beautiful. But I got so frustrated by we're not there yet. And some of you heard me talk about this at the summit to a degree, but this is even went after that in a different regard of going, why are we not there yet? So a great book by Dan Sullivan, The Gap and the Gain, highly recommend it. I was looking at the gap, and the gap is from where you are to where you want to be. Well, we're not there yet. We're looking at that gap. It could be big, it could be small. As opposed to looking at the gain, how much we've learned, how much we've grown since whenever you're starting to measure, right? Mm-hmm. So instead of looking at the gap, or instead of looking at the gain, I was looking at the gap. And I knew I was doing it. I knew I was looking at the gap, but I'm like, why aren't we there yet? And what I realized for me, and maybe I shared this in other episodes, is that I realized I wasn't allowing myself to be happy, even though I talk about happiness and maybe having joy and all this stuff, and not letting today's conditions affect that. I was letting it affect it. I was like, well, once we get this, once we reach this benchmark, once we hit this goal, then I could be happy. Then I could be, I even talked about it today, as a matter of fact, before this. I'm just like, I feel like I have to work holidays because I want to reach that benchmark. And I need to pause and go, hold up. And this was a big changing part for me, which started a month ago. And obviously I'm still working through this, right? We're all learning and growing, is I want to embrace being happy right here and now. The joys, the big things, the really deep, heartfelt things, but also just happiness, the small things, the things that could be minuscule, but amazing, and things that be huge and really heartfelt, or, and everything in between. And so, I was shoveling the snow, and I was just enjoying, and even before that, I was just enjoying the snowfall and imagining myself as the kid again, just embracing it and just loving those. I think it was like 10 seconds, just standing, out by the window looking outside, or when I'm shoveling, just embracing it and enjoying the beautiful snow. I need to remember to do that more often. So for me, it came from recognizing I was looking at the gap, not the gain, but then also intentionally choose the positives, the good things. So for me, I look for the positives. Katie, you tried to reframe situations, right, to help you and intentionally look for the good and the good students and the not so good students and things like that. What are some other ways that people can switch that and rewire their brain so it's a positive mindset?
So one way is celebrating your wins, big and small. And this is one I know I definitely struggle with. I feel like if I didn't just win some grand prize, or I'm the only person who achieved this thing, then it's not worth celebrating. But celebrating the little things and the big things. And for some folks, for some people, they might be in a place where a win for them today is getting out of bed and taking a shower because they're in a really rough spot. That's a win then. Right. You know what I mean? You've got to celebrate the things that you're doing to try to improve, to try to feel joy, to try to be on track with what you're doing. So big and small wins. So whether that's, earning some sort of a promotion at work, or whether it's, hey, every day this week I did some sort of exercise to keep my body healthy. Whatever those wins are, acknowledge them, big or small, and celebrate them. That's a really big one.
Not comparing them to other people's.
Right. Because if you look at, sometimes I would do that. I would compare to Spencer and I'd be like, oh, yeah, sure, I walked on the treadmill X amount of minutes this week, but Spencer did strength training and he worked out on the ninja course. It's easy to drop into that comparing, but that's a really good point to bring that up, is that you want to celebrate your wins without any qualifications or comparison. It's just, you know what? This is something I did, and big or small, it was a win for me today. That's
I know I've struggled with that before a lot, and having a team of people. So my men's group that we meet weekly, we help each other celebrate those wins, and also my coaches and you and energizers help me celebrate, because I forget. I'm on to the next thing so quickly. So having those people who can be little reminders for you or help remind you of those, that's really helpful too.
Absolutely. Another way to rewire to be on that more positive end of things is to practice gratitude regularly. So that doesn't mean like, at Christmas time or whatever holidays you celebrate that you go, oh, yeah, I'm so grateful for this. That means actually taking gratitude and putting it into your day. Whether that's like Spencer talks about, at the end of the day writing down 3 amazing things that happened, or being grateful for, I was grateful for these things today. So it means really incorporating that gratitude into your life. And personally, I think expressing that gratitude. I know when I was a teacher, I found lots of things to be grateful for. Even that year with the really bad class, I still found things to be grateful for. And it really made it intensified like the joy that I would get from feeling the gratitude by then sharing that. So if I was like, wow, at lunchtime I would sit down and be like, man, I'm so grateful for so-and-so because they always, whatever the student did. And then if I told them about that when they came back from lunch recess, like seeing them light up, and then the feeling I got of like, oh, I was so grateful and I shared it. Now there. So I think it's really practicing that gratitude, incorporating it daily, and then also sharing that gratitude with others.
Well, 100%. I would say not only just seeing them, like I've gotten good at writing them down in my notebook, but then I'm just like listing stuff off, instead of just writing them, which is great. Take the 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and really feel it. Just embrace the love, the joy, the positive energy they bring. That's huge. I love it. Thank you. It's great strategy.
Yeah. Another one is to reframe your negative thoughts to focus on solutions. So instead of just getting bogged down in that, that like, oh, this is going wrong and this sucks and oh, it's terrible and whatever, trying to reframe it in a way of like, okay, right now this is a struggle. How am I going to get to a spot where this isn't such a struggle? Or how am I going to get to a spot where this isn't so negative in my life? Which sounds easy, right? It's easy to say, oh, well, just reframe and think about solutions. It's very challenging, I think, at least for me it is. But it's important not to just get going on those negative things in your life and just focus on how bad they are. I know sometimes, again, when I was teaching, like, stuff with the staff and staff meetings and dumb things that administrators thought were a good idea. No offense, administrators. Some of you have dumb ideas. Cat's out of the bag. But anyway.
We all do.
Okay, true, fair. Spencer's like, damage control, Katie's mouth is going off. Oops. Anyway, so, I would get bogged down in that, like, Spencer, this, and just get so worked up. And then he'd be like, well, have you thought about this? And I'm like, he's Prince of Positivitying me. But it was good because I needed to reframe, not just focusing on dumping negativity and being all about that, but trying to figure out, okay, well, what can I change? What can I do that's going to make this not be such a burden?
It's hard. It's hard to reframe sometimes, especially when you're in the thick of it. Having those people, like Beth put in the comments, surround yourself with positive, intentional people, right? So they can help you express your gratitude, help you celebrate your wins, but also help you reframe when you're struggling. And so one of the many reasons why I love our Energizer family so much is because of that, right? You help me reframe things if I'm struggling, and you help each other do it. Yeah. So shout out to the Energizers and join the Energy Hub community on Facebook if you're not already part of it. I love that. Any others?
One last one that I think of would be positive affirmations. And of course, probably if you're of a certain age, you probably just think of like, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. But positive affirmations are so much more than that, right? I really struggled with affirmations at first because I felt like I was just like it felt silly or something. I don't know. I felt silly doing it. And I realized as I got into it, making up my own affirmations, once I realized like what I'm striving for, what is it I need to hear, then they became more meaningful. It wasn't just like, I am a powerful individual. Like to me, I just would say it and be like, woo, it was just silly. But, when I started really thinking, well, what am I striving to be? And then I would, I am making progress. Like affirmations that say what it is that you need to hear, what you need to feel, what you're doing to be your best self.
I love how you personalized it for you as opposed to, you could start with the blanket ones, and some people love the not generic ones, but the ones that I suggest or other people suggest. Those are great. And
that's how I started.
Starting points, right? But that you personalized it to fit you and specifically where you're going. And there's so much science on affirmations. Everything's energy and what you can do. So be careful, be mindful of what you're saying and what you're thinking and doing and putting out there. It's something I've had to work on over the years as well, because I used to talk very negatively about myself, and I still catch myself at times, although I've improved a lot. But I had to work at it. Saying your positive affirmations, doing those things in a way that works for you, right? In a way that personalized works for you, it's amazing. And if you want to learn more strategies, if you want to go deeper into this, first of all, come join our master class. It's free to join, 60 minutes. It's happening on Thursday, December 26th at 5:30 p.m. 5:30 p.m. Eastern. So wherever you are in the world, you can hop in there. There is a replay if you can't join us live. If you want the link for that, you can message me on social media or email spencer@spencermjones.com, or make it easy. Just drop masterclass in the comments, and I will be sure to share that link with you so you can join us. But also we have a one-day event called Energy Recharge, where we really talk about negative bias actually quite a bit. Talk about energy vampires and how to rewire your brain and help you do it right then and there. So instead of us just saying it here, like, we guide you and support you, and you create it right there, then and there. So when you walk away, you have strategies, you have those things. So you are already rewiring your brain. And
it's basically like a workshop to help you break through a lot of stuff and get going.
Exactly. And we've had many of them and huge successes from that. And so
those are my favorites, I think, of our events.
I love them. So we're going to New York. I'd love to do more of them. So we're going to New York in February, and beginning April, we're going to Austin, Texas. So if you want to come join us at any of those, come on down. I know New York, one of our other energizers who's helping us put on the event there, is organizing a fun thing. So if you've never been to New York City or want to see it in a different way, he can help you out with that as well. But so hop in the masterclass for more on that. We got to move on to our next sections here. It's already 6:59 our time. Woo! So we have a couple sections left. One's going to be a Q&A. So if you have any questions for us, let us know. Drop that in the comments. Let us know if you have a question, or if you're thinking about it, drop it in there. Advice in 60 seconds. So we still basically a couple weeks ago, a person asked a question. We've been taking them in chunks for each of these episodes. So we have one advice in 60 seconds, which is great because we have such a little amount of time.
It's perfect.
And that is, what goals... Oh, do you want to ask me? I've been talking.
No, go ahead.
No, just go for it. What goals did you put aside and why? I apologize.
No, that's okay. Hey.
Do you want to take this one?
Sure. One goal in the past few years I've had to put aside was earning my doctorate. I was in a doctoral program. I was all the way to having everything half written. There were some issues kind of with the program. It expanded very quickly, and there wasn't enough staff to really be diligent, so there were lots of like, oh, you submitted that 6 weeks ago, but we still haven't even looked at it. That kind of stuff. And it was getting really frustrating, and it was becoming like a really negative thing for me. And so I set that goal aside for now. I'm not giving up on it. I've wanted to be Dr. Jones since I was a little girl because my dad has several higher education degrees and he's Dr. Jones. And so to me, when I was little, I thought, well, everybody's dad must just be a doctor, right? You know? And so I definitely still want to pursue that goal. Especially since I got so close. But, you know, sometimes when you have aspirations you're reaching for, it doesn't work out in that moment that you're trying, but then you'll find that right time when it comes up. And I know that right time will come for me, and I'll get in a program and finish, and then I'll be like, yes, I reached my goal. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I love it. And you turned that into a second master's.
Yes, right, I was able to convert the credits. I got a second master's degree out of it. Great. And it was cool because I was able to talk to my students at the time about the process and everything. And I was able to kind of show them through that example of like, you know, this wasn't exactly what I wanted out of this. You know, I talked to them about that. I was like, yeah, I like to talk to my kids about what's going on in my life. And, you know, I was able to tell them, like, you know, it wasn't what I wanted right now, but I was able to get everything that I did help me learn and grow as a researcher, as a teacher, as a learner. So I was able to pull lots of positives from it. That was pretty cool. But someday I'll be Dr. Jones. Just wait.
Can't wait. It'll be fun. Fun to see you on that journey and the progression. I'll keep mine really short and sweet. What goals I put aside? I used to love running. I still enjoy running to a degree. It's one of those things that go in and out of favor. But just, I mean, I like exercising and it feels good. For many years, I did races, right? So I did 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons. I never did a full, so I'm not fully crazy. I'm just kidding. If you've done one, amazing, go you. I can't imagine running straight for 3 or 4 hours and doing that. But I do half marathons and stuff like that. I did do a half Ironman, which is crazy enough because that was just shy of 6 hours of craziness. But it was broken up between like 3 different things, so it was better in my mind. Not a full Ironman, half. Yeah, y'all do fulls are crazy. Have fun. But go you for doing it because that's incredible. But I stopped doing races, like pretty much everything. I'll still support 5Ks. Obviously, we have our charity 5K that's virtual. I'll still do those things, but I don't race like I used to because honestly, it just wasn't aligned. It didn't excite me anymore. And I was like, why doesn't this excite me? Well, it doesn't align with who I am at that anymore and with where I'm going. It did at one point, but now it doesn't. So for me, the goals that I set now, they have to excite me and they have to be aligned with who I am and with where I'm going. So hopefully, especially as we get into the new year, as you might be doing resolutions or goals or things like that, make sure they're in alignment with who you are and where you're going. All right. We have courses about that in the Jonesin 4 Academy as well. So, come check that out. That'd be a great, in my opinion, it'd be a great gift to give yourself for the new year because it has over 100 trainings and courses. But anyway, so make sure they're aligned. All right, real quickly, we're running short on time. If anyone has questions, drop in questions. We'll be happy to answer them. Quick question for you, Katie. So a little behind the scenes, get to know us a little bit. Katie, what is your favorite holiday dessert?
Pumpkin pie with whipped cream.
Ooh, nice.
How about you?
Oh, cheesecake. I love a good cheesecake with some cherries on top, whipped cream. Oh, It's either that or apple pie. But I think cheesecake wins.
Nice,
Delicious.
nice.
Delicious.
All right.
Well, if you do have any questions or anything, let us know. Reach out. This is episode 4 of 6 episodes in all for the Jonesin 4 Live Season 1. Curious about your thoughts on this. Do you like this show? Do you like this format? Let us know. Seriously, drop it in the comments. Send Katie or I a message. Let us know if you like this. We have 6 episodes, so we'll finish up all 6, and we head off to the Philippines for our Philippine experience, our international experience, which will be a blast. And then when we come back, we're going to see, do we do this again? But we need you to help us and guide us. We want to make sure we're serving you in the best way possible. So I don't see any questions. Come on in. If you do have any, reach out. We are always here for you. Come join us in that free masterclass so we can really dive into overcoming negative bias and rewiring, along with setting boundaries, empowering boundaries. So I guess I'll leave with this. I invite you to think of a negative thought that you've had maybe today or this last week, and how did you turn around? Think about how you turn around. I had this negative thought. Turn around if you haven't yet. How can we reframe it, look at it differently, whatever it is? Turn it around, and then share that in the Energy Hub. Share like, hey, I noticed this last week I struggled with this, and this is how I turned it around. I want to celebrate you and your wins because you're worthy of it. Any other last words from you? I did a lot of talking today.
You did do a lot of talking. It's okay. You're good at it. Have a safe holidays, and we'll see you next time.
Love it. Whatever you celebrate, enjoy it. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas from us. We love you. We appreciate you. Go shine your beautiful lights. So until next time, we'll catch you later. Bye.